Hello, I am Yuri, and this is... I lost count what the video is, but today, in case you didn't see the last videos, I pretty much told you how the very beginning of the game works, how the map works, and then I told you how the spying, the operations work. Today, we'll be looking at the council. So, what are the advantages of the council? How do you win through council? Pretty much through politics, and how does it work? Very simple now. So from a few days to few days, actually not few, actually a good, from some amount of days to some amount of days, the council will meet. When they meet, there will appear three random, kind of random. As soon as you get late game, you'll start seeing a pattern. Pretty much they try to slow the game down always. So for example, if I am with a Atreides and I have all the political power here on the council, what happens is it shall appear right here. I actually took it out because I had the power, but I had right here, which is to take everybody from the council. So it pretty much would take me out. So the game will always try to slow you down, and the buffs will be dependent on it. So it'll either give you buffs or it will give you debuffs. Will they go to you? That's actually for you and the other players to decide. So let's imagine over here. It's council day, you get this screen. What's gonna happen is you always have 100 votes default, unless you are a smuggler, which does not have as many, or you made an act of war against other factions. Normally Arconans do this, so normally they have 0 votes. This is an AI, so obviously it did not attack me, it just stood there. It pretty much has 0. If you have 0, you only have your influence. If you have less than 100, like the smugglers, you have your influence. These are always the votes that you get every single council, no matter what. You can see over here, influence is something that you can farm with the blue buildings most of the time. I can see over here, I believe. There you go. As you guys can see, I'm farming influence because I'm next to an enemy. And then you can use this influence to win more votes. That's pretty much it. So you just reach here, you see 3 buffs. What do? You see something you like and you vote on it. That's as simple as that. But I do advise you to look at the bottom first, because sometimes it's actually not at the bottom, sorry, at the top here. First, it will tell you if it's only for one faction and if you need to go down and select the faction that you want. Normally, I either picking you or picking a enemy that you really want to hit them with a nerf. You read it, you see if it's for one faction only or if it's for everybody. Normally, when it's for everybody, I just leave it be, because people usually do what's the better for them, and when it's for every faction, what's better for them is also better for you. So normally I leave it. I only vote on things that will affect me directly. So as you guys can see, this was an faction and I wanted to win it, so it was a pretty good buff, so I invested my votes up in here. Now let's imagine now that you want to go for the political win. This was pretty simple. Pretty much every some amount of days you'll see 3 buffs and you just need to vote. Smugglers, by the way, not only do they have less votes, but they can have a passive, which is they put a bounty. You read the bounty, and if you vote for what they want, you get money. So sometimes if you're in troubles with money, or if you're playing smugglers and you want to try and win the buff, or try for them to vote for what you want, you put the bounty on it. For example, Atreides, if I really want the bounty from the smugglers, I can just put all my votes and I know I'll get the money. But now, with all that said, you see the 3 buffs, you voted, whatever. Now let's go up here, the council. Every single council has somewhat of a buff. For example, here, the Eye of the Council gives you 2 extra agents, which I really like. Here, the Water Sellers Union gives you 2 salary per positive water, which is over here, so I'm winning a shit ton of money, as you guys can see. Let's skip this one. Judge of the Council will allow you to train guards and judges, which are other type of military, right over here. This normally I don't really care, but I do like to have every single one of them, because this just helps me go for governorship easier. I'll get to that. And then you have Speaker of the Council, which is, to me, like to a trade, is just the most OP, which is pretty much allows me to replace one resolution at the start of each council. So you get these three and you don't like one of them, and it's just like, okay, before this council starts, I'll just take away the one that I don't want to, and it will get replaced for something. Don't worry, if you choose that one specific to obstruct and it changes to something that you actually think it's worth, you can always just change it back and you're like, okay, I actually am going to keep that one and I'm going for something else. This is extremely good for trades, for example, on late game. As I told you, there's a debuff that takes me from every single council. It just takes the title from everybody, which was over here. So if I have the speaker of the council, I'm like, okay, I have all the power. I'm not going to lose all the power because I can just take it out instead of having to vote against it. So it's much more OP. And then once you get to these normally will help you a lot on getting to the requisites of being the DUNE governorship. What is the DUNE governorship? Is how you win politically, through politics, sorry. So pretty much what you do is, normally I like to have every single buff to make sure I have all the power through the council and nobody can take this away from me. And once you get the requisite, which is have at least one charter, which is this, obviously I have 4. Why 4? Because normally what this does is, as you guys can see, right down here are the people that can be voted to be the council. And if I have all of the charters, means people either vote with me or against me. And let me tell you, with the Atreides, the amount of votes that you have, nobody's going to win. So you finally won the governorship. You have the governorship. How does it work? How do you win with this? Very simple. It says right here, if you can last 30 days, which by the way is not a lot, you win. That's it. That's it. Very simple. How does this work? Simple. I'm gonna tell you how my multiplayer game went. Pretty much I was going back and forth with other factions, and I was actually winning every single council. I was getting everything. But this is just an example of a situation. These guys over here were starting to get a lot of DUNE percentage, which is another way that I told you on the very first video. This is another way to win, by just buying shares over here. Because I saw this, I talked to the, by the way, over here is the chat that you can talk with other players. I pretty much spoke with other houses and say, look, we are all going to lose to this guy if this guy keeps buying shares so easily. So why not we just stop them, just negotiate, and we buy some shares and then we attack them together. Pretty much because they agree, they want to win, they say, okay, that's fine, let's just attacking him. And because this will slow the guys down, and while they can go for their win condition. I told you on the very first game that you should always choose 2. And I'm fine, I always have my 2 as well. So I'm going for governorship. They start slowing the guy down, which lets me get the council, and then I just need to hold off for 30 days. If you do this, if this happens, I'm telling you now, once this shit gets to 20 days, or even right on the 30 days, every single faction is going to start attacking you. Thankfully, 30 days is not much. The game normally is at 1.5 speed on multiplayer, so the days go by actually faster. So if you can use your army to hold off the factions and you build pretty good defenses right here, as you guys can see with my missile batteries, you guys hold off for the 30 days and you win. That's how you win through politics, and that's how the politics work. Pretty much you get the votes normally, you just get those votes. Depending on our faction, you have more or less. Influence is something that you can farm, and that's what helps you win pretty much, because everybody has 100 votes, and then whoever has the more influence wins whatever they are playing for. Obviously you need to take into account, for example, Atreides has a shit ton of votes, but sometimes if you're playing other factions, what will happen is you will vote for something and you have to count with your votes and every single other votes, because they can turn all against you, and sometimes you don't have enough votes to stop all of them at the same time. So for example, let's imagine here I had 654. Let's imagine they decide to go against me and put together all of their votes and try to put Fremen just to stop me. This can happen, and it's something you need to take into consideration. Fortunately, Atreides are one of the strongest when it comes to the politics, so this does not help them, does not frighten us as much. And now let me just tell you one more thing before I go, which is right here, support. As I told you, influence is a very important thing here, and here we have the priority of wanting the vote for the new council to come. What happens is you can spend your influence right here, as you guys can see, 10, 10, and you're spending over here. You spend 5 influence over here to support. Once this gets to 100, it is sure that it'll be here. This is, for example, how I play with the treaties. I make sure I farm up a lot of influence, then just bump up this to 100, and it'll appear here in the next council. Then I use all my votes to win the council, and I get a very nice buff. This also helps me, for example, if I don't have the council, if I don't have the charter, and I want to take some away from it. So I just support, make it go to 100, where someone already has a charter, and then just vote against them and take them out. This is the power of politics. I normally do this right away if I don't have the Speaker of Council. So yeah, this is pretty much how it works. This is the very simplified politics. Then you just need to play to your strengths. If politics is one of your 2 ways that you chose to win, then you play with this. For example, I'm gonna keep giving you Arconan and Atreides as examples because they are pretty much polar opposites. Arconans do not usually go for politics because they usually are hostile and do acts of war against other factions, so they have 0 votes, like I told you, if you do. So normally they just help others and try to slow down on the politics and then just go aggressive on the map. As Atreides, we are from peace. There you go, Jesus Christ, all loves you. So what we do is, normally we are not aggressive on the map, but we are on the council and make sure that we win. That's just the beauty of the game, is that every faction has their way to win. So this was 4th, 5th video, I don't even know, I don't care. And we went into politics. Next, it will be the skill tree, which is probably the most confusing one, but I'm going to try to explain it briefly. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.